Oh my goodness, it's summer. What are we gonna do with our kids? Y'all, the days are really long. So I wanna share 10 ideas of how we can turn our kids into bookworms instead of couch potatoes. Idea number 1, and no, you don't have to be a Pinterest fanatic to do this one. Let's create a simple sensory bin. Some of our favorites are literally like zero prep. It's just water and food coloring. We get a big old bin, dump some different kinds of containers, bowls, or Tupperware, put in clear water, and then squirt in a few drops of color. If you have a really little kid, they can then mix those. If you have an older kid, grab one of our color books, like the Big Book of Colors, and allow them to pour blue and yellow together to make green, or then even toss in some little toys and turn it into a fun scrubby bath time. Another great idea is to do a themed bin. Now, these might take a little bit more prep, but they're not hard, they're not complicated, and they don't have to be expensive. What I mean by sensory bin are just things that your kids can tactile touch and play with using their hands. It helps with fine motor skills, it helps with creativity, it's a small word play, developing story and plotline in their heads as they're telling stories between the little characters. You can add so many learning components with sensory play. It's super easy and pairs wonderfully with a book. Okay, here's a real life peek inside our sensory bin cabinet. Explosion is a better word. So I just randomly collect all kinds of things. This is the bin that we use most often. It is from IKEA. We do these a lot, or the Thanksgiving ones. Pasta, beans and rice. It does not have to be expensive or apparently neat. Idea number 2, outside learning play. We don't want the summer slide to happen where your kids forget all that great stuff they learned this year. So take the concepts outside and make it a game. Grab one of our letter books or number books like Dottie and Dash or Alfie and Bets, or maybe our Lift the Flap ABCs. Any of our number and letter books will work for this one. And what we're gonna do is some hopping around outside. The only thing you need is some sidewalk chalk. Draw A, B, C, all the letters all around your driveway, sidewalk, or a park. And then depending on your kid's skill level, maybe you just call out, go run and hop on the A, or do 10 jumping jacks on that D. Or maybe your kids are working on sight words or spelling. They can hop from letter to letter and connect a word. You can also do this with math. So grab one of our numbers books or math books and then create a number line. So draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, however high you wanna go on your sidewalk. And then have easy math problems that your kids can do in their head. So you would shout out 2 + 2, and they would have to physically move their body on the number line until they got to the number 4. Using kinesthetic learning, that's movement, that's getting your muscles involved, really helps trigger those neurons to make things really stick in your kids' brains. Tip number 3, get in the kitchen. Make learning tasty. Maybe you whip up some South African delicacies as you read about Nelson Mandela. Or maybe Billy B. Brown, you have a midnight feast and you eat late in the middle of the living room. Or maybe you Google some fairy like Jello or fairy smoothies. There's so many amazing kid-friendly recipes that you can find that coordinate with any book that you're reading. Or maybe you have a tea party with Alice in the middle of Wonderland as you read the story. Or maybe you make tacos as you learn some Spanish with Roscoe. We also have Start to Cook, an amazing easy recipe book for those littlest chefs. But our favorite series is Freddy's Amazing Bakery. There's several in this one that cover Freddy as he goes around his amazing town making tasty, delightful treats. And at the end of every book, there's incredible recipes that are super yummy. We've made them all. Tip number 4 is super easy. Make an art station. Set up somewhere in your house that you have colored pencils or crayons or markers depending on your kids' age level, and let them be creative. Give them a space and a place to have independence to foster that creativity. You can fill it with so many of our incredible activity books, sticker books, coloring books, magic painting books. The ideas are endless. Okay, here's a real life peek at our art station. So we have crayons, markers, scissors, tape, a thing of paper. Sometimes I will set out like the books that morning that we're gonna work on. And then we have just a little bookshelf over here that has some storybooks for inspiration, and then a whole bunch of activity books, coloring books, sticker books, wipe clean books. Down here we have stained glass, all kinds of fun stuff. And so they come through here throughout the day and just kind of stop and do their thing, make some art, take it with them, or sit here and we have a fun little creative session. Oh, sorry I didn't see you. I was having my independent, quiet reading time at my own little library. That's tip number 5. Give your kids quiet, alone space. Now, I know this can be like, oh my goodness, my kids would never ever sit still. It doesn't happen all at once. Sometimes you have to work up to it. We've been working on this for years, as long as we've had our children. We start with about 5 minutes of quiet time and gradually increase 5 minutes, and then the next week it might be 10 and then 15. And now we have about 20 minutes every single day where the kids go in their room, they grab a stack of books. Flashlight books are their favorite, so it's a really good place to start. And they spend time reading. It becomes something that they've craved. They need that downtime to process and to reflect on their busy days and big feelings as kids. One tip in doing this is have books facing cover out, so where they can see the cover on their shelves, or allow them to build a stack or a basket that week or even that day. Book rotation is really important because when they see the same books around them all the time, they just become immune to it and it's not exciting and fresh. So keeping books rotated, showing the covers instead of just the spines, and forcing them to have calm and quiet time every day truly will grow you some bookworms. For idea number 6, let's get our art on. Now you may have older kids, and for them, one of our awesome activity books would be just right. We have our design books that help you make magazines, and we have our design scribble book that includes STEM activities and all kinds of things. Or it can even be simple. Read one of your favorite storybooks or a chapter book, depending on your kid's level, and allow them to go nuts. Let them recreate the cover, maybe in a simplified version, or using their imagination if there's not pictures in the book. Allow them to create their world. They can draw a map of what happened in the story, but allowing them to bring things, elements, characters, settings from the book alive not only reinforces reading comprehension, but it expands their imagination because they take that literacy, that idea that they learned in a book, one step further. My kids love to fold paper into a book, recreate a cover, and then write the next chapter of that story. Idea 7 isn't rocket science. It's easy. It's read aloud time. Megan Cox-Gurdon wrote a book called The Enchanted Hour that goes through all the amazing things that happens to your kids' brains, your relationship, and their future impact on learning with reading aloud. 20 minutes a day of read aloud time can dramatically change kids' behavior, kids' impact on their learning, and kids' ability to sit, be calm, and interact with you. It's proven to do so much. Read aloud to your kids. I don't care if they're 2 or 22. Idea 8 is to start a book club. This one could be super easy. Maybe you meet every few weeks, you have kids come into your home, or you meet at a local park. Read a story, have a live story time, and then you can either, depending on your level of comfort, maybe you do a craft, maybe you make a snack, or maybe you just run wild and let the kids play. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be Instagram worthy. Just get together. Kids need to see books being read in the context of community. Just like as adults, we need people, our children need people. And so inviting other kids to read together, to read the same thing, to have a shared experience will create true lasting memories and a love, a deep love that grows those bookworms. If you need help finding a book or pairing an activity, just ask. I would love to help you find something to help your book club succeed. Woo, woo, woo! It's story time and costume. Grab a costume, throw on a silly hat, read in a funny voice, and make books come alive. Anything that you can do to put the story in their world, to make it tangible and a memorable summer experience. What can it be? Idea 10 is a book gift countdown. Maybe it's something you do every week, or at the start of a new month, or every 10 days, or whenever your kids earn it. But by wrapping up a book, it makes books the reward. That's what we want our kids to see. Books and reading time is something that's special, something that is valued and important and prioritized in our home. Just like we do this around the holidays, a lot of us do like 12 days of Christmas or 25 days of Christmas. You can do it in the summer. Wrap up a book, let kids unwrap it, make it a special, fun thing that encourages the reward of reading all summer long. Okay, now that your heads are spinning with all of these ideas to grow readers, how about a little challenge? Linked in this post, you'll find our creative, playful, reading, fun summer challenge. There's all of these ideas for things for you and your kids to complete together. You can toss in some of these tips or make up your own and share them with us. The idea is we're not sitting on the couch this summer. We're in a book, we're outside, we're being together, and we're having fun with literacy.